America, land of opportunity, founded by immigrants, built by immigrants. From the Pilgrims to waves of Europeans, Asians, and Latin Americans, migration shaped this nation. It's not just a history lesson, it's our present. Our economy, culture, and identity are tied to the ebb and flow of people seeking a better life. But the narrative of immigration is changing. The faces are different. The challenges are greater. The conversation is more divided than ever. We see images of caravans at the border. We hear stories of desperate families fleeing violence and poverty. It's a crisis, no doubt. But it's also an opportunity. How we respond to this migrant crisis will define us as a nation. It's time to look beyond the rhetoric and confront the complex realities of migration in the 21st century. The images are stark. Thousands of migrants camped out in squalid conditions, desperate to cross the border. Border Patrol agents, overwhelmed and under-resourced, struggling to maintain order. Politicians on both sides exploiting the crisis for political gain. This is the reality of the migrant crisis. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. But one thing is clear: the current system is broken. We can't keep applying band-aid solutions to a gaping wound. Why are so many people fleeing their homes? What can we do to address the root causes of migration, such as poverty, violence, and climate change? The migrant crisis is a defining moment for America. How we respond will have far-reaching consequences for the future of our nation. Let's be honest, America has a complicated relationship with immigrants. We love to celebrate their contributions, but we also fear their impact on our jobs, our culture, our way of life. It's a tale as old as America itself. But here's the thing. Immigrants are an economic engine. They always have been. They always will be. Immigrants bring energy, skills, and a hunger to succeed. They start businesses, create jobs, and fill labor shortages. They don't just take jobs. They create new markets and opportunities. From tech giants to mom-and-pop shops, immigrants are the backbone of our economy. They also contribute significantly to our tax base. They pay taxes. They help keep our entitlement programs afloat. Ignoring the economic power of immigrants is short-sighted and bad for business. America's strength lies in its diversity. It's a nation of immigrants, a melting pot of cultures, a tapestry woven from threads of every corner of the globe. Each wave of immigrants has enriched the American fabric, adding new flavors, new perspectives, new ways of life. Our food, music, art, and fashion, all shaped by the contributions of immigrants. They bring their traditions, languages, and stories, making America a more vibrant place to live. Immigrants challenge our assumptions, broaden our horizons, and force us to confront our own biases. They remind us that America is not a monolith, but a mosaic, a celebration of difference. Through these challenges, we learn, grow, and become a more inclusive society. America has always been a magnet for dreamers, for innovators, for those with a burning desire to make their mark on the world. Immigrants embody this spirit. They come here with a drive to succeed, to innovate, to create. Immigrants are twice as likely to start businesses as native-born Americans. They are overrepresented in fields like technology, engineering, and medicine. They are driving innovation, creating jobs, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. They bring fresh perspectives, new ideas, and a willingness to take risks. This hunger, this drive, this ambition is contagious. It benefits not just immigrants themselves, but all of us. Let's be real, the conversation about immigration is often dominated by fear and division. We hear about the threat of immigrants, the strain on our resources, the erosion of our values. But what if we shifted the narrative? What if we focused on the positive contributions, the shared values, the common ground? Immigrants are not the other. They are our neighbors, our colleagues, our friends, our family members. They share our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations for a better future. We need to move beyond the us versus them mentality and embrace the idea of a shared future. A future where we celebrate our differences while recognizing our common humanity. This requires empathy, understanding, and a willingness to listen to each other's stories. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room. The influx of migrants, especially when it's a surge, puts a strain on resources. Schools, hospitals, social services, they're all feeling the pressure. This is a legitimate concern. When resources are already stretched thin, the arrival of large numbers of people, many with limited English and low skills, can create challenges. Schools struggle to accommodate new students. Hospitals grapple with language barriers and unpaid bills. Social safety nets are pushed to their limits. This strain can fuel resentment among native-born populations who feel like they're losing out. But these challenges are not insurmountable. With smart policies, adequate funding, and a commitment to shared responsibility, we can mitigate these strains. It requires planning, investment, and a long-term vision, not knee-jerk reactions driven by panic. Let's be honest, the issue of illegal immigration casts a long shadow over the entire debate. It's a complex issue, fraught with legal and moral dilemmas. It's also a political hot potato, exploited by both sides to score points. Many migrants enter the country illegally, desperate for a better life but lacking legal pathways. This creates a host of problems. It undermines the rule of law, fuels criminal activity, and exploits vulnerable people. We need to secure our borders, enforce our laws, and crack down on employers who exploit undocumented workers. But we also need to create realistic pathways to legal status for those who are already here, contributing to our society. We can't ignore this problem. America prides itself on being a melting pot, a nation where different cultures blend and enrich one another. But cultural integration is a two-way street. It requires effort, understanding, and a willingness to adapt on both sides. When large numbers of immigrants arrive, particularly from cultures vastly different from the mainstream, it can create friction. Language barriers, religious differences, and social norms can lead to misunderstandings, tensions, and even conflict. Some argue that mass immigration threatens to erode America's national identity, diluting its values and traditions. These fears, while understandable, are often overblown. The challenge is to manage this change, to find ways to integrate newcomers while preserving the core values that bind us together. Let's be honest, immigration is a political football, kicked around by politicians who exploit the issue for their own gain. They stoke fears, demonize immigrants, and offer simplistic solutions to complex problems. On the one hand, you have those who advocate for open borders, arguing that America should welcome everyone with open arms. On the other hand, you have those who want to build walls, ban entire religions, and seal off America from the world. Both extremes are unrealistic and counterproductive. We need a nuanced approach, one that balances compassion with common sense, security with opportunity. The reality is, immigration is a complex issue with no easy answers. We need to find a way forward that upholds our values, strengthens our economy, and secures our future. Let's face it, America's immigration system is a mess. It's a patchwork of outdated laws, conflicting regulations, and political gridlock. Trying to navigate it is like wandering through a maze, blindfolded with both hands tied behind your back. We have temporary visas that don't meet the needs of our economy. We have family reunification policies that take decades to process. We have a Byzantine asylum system that's overwhelmed and backlogged. This broken system creates perverse incentives. It encourages illegal immigration, fuels the black market for labor, and makes it harder for businesses to find the workers they need. We need comprehensive immigration reform. It's a tall order, but it's not impossible. The debate over immigration often gets bogged down in a false dichotomy, enforcement versus compassion. One side yells, "Build the wall," the other side screams, "Open the borders." Both sides are missing the point. We need both. We need to enforce our laws, yes, but we also need to be humane and compassionate. We can't turn a blind eye to people fleeing violence and persecution. We can't treat children like criminals. We can't let fear dictate our actions. We can secure our borders while also creating legal pathways for refugees and asylum seekers. It's about finding a pragmatic, humane approach that upholds our values and protects our interests. Security and compassion are not mutually exclusive. Here's a novel idea. Instead of spending billions on walls and detention centers, let's invest in integration. Let's help newcomers learn English, find jobs, and become productive members of society. Let's build bridges, not walls. Integration is a two-way street, of course. It requires effort from both newcomers and longtime residents. But the benefits are clear. Integration strengthens our economy, enriches our culture, and reduces social tensions. We need to fund programs that teach English as a second language, ESL, provide job training, and promote cultural exchange. This is not about erasing cultural differences. It's about creating a society where everyone has the opportunity to succeed, regardless of where they were born. The migrant crisis is not just an American problem, it's a global phenomenon, driven by forces beyond our borders: conflict, climate change, poverty, inequality. America can't solve this problem alone, but we can play a leading role. We need to work with other countries to address the root causes of migration. That means promoting economic development, supporting democratic institutions, and addressing the impacts of climate change. It means being a force for good in the world. We also need to rethink our foreign policy. Our interventions in other countries, often driven by short-sighted interests, have unintended consequences. They create instability, displace populations, and fuel the very problems that drive migration. It's time for us to step up, to lead with compassion and wisdom, and to work with others to create a more just and sustainable world. America stands at a crossroads. The migrant crisis challenges the very essence of our national identity. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about who we are, who we want to be, and what kind of future we want to build. Do we embrace the opportunity embedded within this crisis, or do we succumb to the fear that often accompanies change? The choices we make today will reverberate for generations to come. This is not a choice between compassion and security, between economic prosperity and cultural preservation. These are false choices, often peddled by those who seek to divide us for their own gain. The truth is, we can have both. We can secure our borders while also extending a welcoming hand to those in need. It's not easy, but it's who we are at our best. The debate over immigration is often hijacked by fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of the other, fear of change itself. This fear is amplified by those who benefit from division, who exploit our anxieties for political gain. We see it in the headlines that scream about invasions and hordes. We hear it in the rhetoric that demonizes entire groups of people, painting them as criminals and threats to our way of life. This fear is toxic. It blinds us to the humanity of those who are simply seeking a better life. It's time to move beyond the fear and division. It's time to acknowledge the humanity of those who are on the move, those who are risking everything for a chance at a better future. It's time to engage in respectful, fact-based dialogue, to listen to each other's stories, and to find common ground. The migrant crisis, for all its complexities and challenges, also presents America with an incredible opportunity. An opportunity to reaffirm our values, to reinvigorate our economy, and to reshape our future in a positive way. Immigrants are a source of vitality, bringing energy, skills, and a hunger to succeed. They start businesses, create jobs, and contribute to our culture in countless ways. They remind us that America's strength lies in its diversity, in its ability to welcome those from all walks of life and provide them with a chance to thrive. But this promise comes with a peril. If we fail to manage immigration effectively, if we allow fear and division to guide our policies, we risk squandering this opportunity. We risk creating a society that is more divided, less prosperous, and less just. The stakes are high. The choices we make today will determine the kind of nation we will become. Will we rise to the challenge, or will we succumb to our fears? The answer lies in our hands. America has always been a nation in the making, a work in progress striving towards that elusive ideal of a more perfect union. Each wave of immigrants has tested that ideal, forcing us to confront our prejudices and expand our definition of who belongs, to recognize that our fates are intertwined. It challenges us to live up to our founding principles of liberty, equality, and opportunity for all. Our diversity is our strength, making us stronger, more resilient, more vibrant. The migrant crisis is a stark reminder that we live in an interconnected world. What happens in distant lands inevitably reaches our shores. We can try to isolate ourselves, but that is not a sustainable solution. The future belongs to those who embrace interconnectedness and work together. America has a choice to make. We can be a force for good, a beacon of hope, or we can retreat into fear and division. The choice is ours. Let us choose hope over fear, unity over division.